split my pants. So I won't do it today. I'm completely excited and very humbled to be here with you. I'm like, actually, you know, if you see this, I'm a little bit nervous because some of my, I hate the word idol isn't the right word, but some of my early mentors and people that have raised the bar very high in my life are right here in this room. And you know, this is the first opportunity that I've had in my 12-year Nu Skin career to speak to you. And it's strange to me because Southeast Asia is a very special place. I think you feel that. I didn't expect to start crying, but listening to Melissa and her staff and talking about the lives that were changing, like my heart was really touched. There's a special feeling in this room because I know that your goals are to change the world and leave people better. And this opportunity has changed my life. This is a lifestyle choice, building Nu Skin, being part of Nu Skin. Many of us have chosen that this will be our entire life will be part of Nu Skin. Some of you, you're new. Congratulations. I remember my first success type trip. It was called a Ruby trip. I was so nervous. I was excited. I wanted to share my story with everyone. I felt like I went to school for the first time as a little kid. Have you ever felt that way in these, I'm looking around, I'm worried what everybody thinks about me. I want to stand out because I always wanted people to notice me somehow. So that's why I cut my hair funny, and that's why I did crazy things when I was younger. But I found that in a family like Nu Skin, I've been able to receive all of the things I was looking for and longing for my whole life. And some of that was financial. Most of it was the feeling that I just felt here again this morning being with you. So I'm so grateful. And my goal, if I have one goal today, it's to help you leave here knowing that more is possible for you. And I hope if you're brand new and this is your first event, or that this is your first success trip, that you'll make a decision today to stay here with us for the rest of your life. Make a choice to live the Nu Skin lifestyle. Come and be part of this because it is outstanding. It's amazing. I'm part of that lucky group that gets to go next week to the Team Elite trip in Rome. I've lived in Florence for a year with my wife, so we want you to come. I mean, this is the best stuff. You get to hang out with the greatest people. When they asked me what I did to be successful in the beginning, I was interviewed by a network marketing kind of guru. He doesn't build downlines, but he interviews network marketers. He's considered a guru in the training world. It doesn't matter who he is. But behind camera, off camera, he asked me something. He said, "Hey, Kenton, don't you feel a little bit nervous that you're standing in the shadows of all of these incredible Nu Skin leaders? I mean, you started 20 years late. Don't you feel like you're too late?" That's what he said. And you know what I told him? He said, "Don't you feel like you're standing in the shadows?" I said, "You can never be in the shadow when you're standing on the shoulders of giants." And that's exactly what I know we're going to do. So if you're brand new today, and you think, man, this company's 30 years old. I was brand new a few years ago and thought, man, this company's 20 years old. Is there a place for Kenton Worthington? And my goal is to help you know that there is a place for you. And it matters that you show up and share your story and your life and your experience. Today, it's my chance to do that. So please allow me to indulge you with a little bit of the things that brought me to this stage, knowing that I would much rather hear from you. I would much rather hear your story. But I believe that my story can help you today. So here we go. I want it to be funny because I spent hours and hours on this presentation, not to be impressive, but because I'm illiterate in building PowerPoints. So lesson number 1, don't procrastinate. Lesson number 2, don't do things that you're not very good at if you can afford to pay someone who is to do it for you. Okay, there you go. Those are the lessons for the day. This is my family. I grew up in a family with 6 children. My mother and father were school teachers. And I'm hoping, actually, before I keep going, because I don't have a clock. Is there a time clock somewhere? Otherwise, you guys will be here with me for 10 hours. Somebody can help me and give me some time so I can keep on track. I want to point out a couple of things in this picture. This was my wedding 3 years ago. My grandmother, who's here, she's 97 years old in this picture. And she's an amazing woman. She was reading a book a day, mostly without glasses. Sometimes near the end of the day, she would say, "Oh, my eyes hurt," and she would put her glasses on. Now, the reason I'm sharing this with you, because you can see my beautiful wife in the picture. The reason, beyond the fact that I love my wife, that I got married at 37 years old. I waited a long time. Every girl I took home, my mother and my grandmother didn't like. This was the first girl. They went, "Wow, she's amazing." So I married her, of course. Right? You just do that. Mom and grandmother say that. My wife, very nervously, knows how much I love my grandmother. My grandmother was just, fashionista. She was a very special lady. My wife goes up to my grandmother and she says, "Grandmother, you look gorgeous. I hope that when I'm 97, I can look like you and have this kind of energy and vitality." And my grandmother said, "Oh, darling, you don't have the genes." Oh my goodness, I went, "Oh no, grandmother." But here's the great thing about my wife. She retorted back and said, "Yeah, but we have age lock." Nice. So that's a story about my family. This was our wedding. My oldest sister, her husband is Japanese. And so I have these beautiful Caucasian Japanese nephews, 5 of them. They're all super good looking, and they're all single, and they're young, like in their early 20s. So if you're single young, talk to me later. My youngest sister, she married a Chinese gentleman who is one of my favorite people on the face of the planet. I love my brother-in-law. So I have 13 nieces and nephews, and my family is really, really special and important to me. So this is a cool picture. When I saw this, I'm like, that's a cool picture. But this is a picture of my family growing up. So this is pretty much like the horror that I grew up with. I hated this car. It was not cool back then. It didn't work. The back seat was burned out. The battery, there's a battery behind the back seat. It lit a fire, no back seat. Anybody who's been in one of these cars knows. 6 children, so do the math. Mom and dad in the front, 4 children, right? 4 girls kind of like this. No, 3 older sisters standing because there's no seat. And then in the far back, me, younger brother, boom, younger sister sitting on me. People were joking when we would go to church on Sunday that you could see arms and legs hanging out the window, and they'd say, "Oh, the Worthingtons are coming." And I'm sharing this with you because this was when I started dreaming about having a huge car. That's all I wanted, a car with so much room in it that I could just stretch out and breathe. This is when I wanted something more in my life. So I started working at an early age. I started with my first business at 14, and I was mowing lawns. And I'm grateful for that because, as you can see, I was listening to personal development material. This was my opportunity to learn about what mattered most, which was the opportunity to create in your mind and heart and then have that become part of physical reality. I listened to 10 hours a day of personal development material. But as they told you in my introduction, I was a millionaire and bankrupt twice by the time I was 27. And that was quite discouraging for me. So I had a dream and a goal. This quote is really important, but I wasn't sure of how to achieve that dream or goal. I didn't feel like I knew what I was doing because I knew I had to work hard. I knew that I had to take risks. I knew that if the general population didn't see what I saw, I was probably going in the right direction. Have you guys learned that at all? Generally speaking, when you try to set out and do something great, most people won't understand it and there will be pushback. I learned all of those things, but I was discouraged. I didn't want to fail. I wanted to be free young. I didn't want to be free later in life. My mom and dad, my dad is 87 years old. He turns 88 this year. He retired. They made him retire, and he didn't have the money to retire at 71 years old. So I saw my dad still works to this day. He loves working. He works for me. He manages all my money, which is fabulous. I love that. So what I knew was that a goal without a plan was simply a wish. And being bankrupt, being depressed, sleeping on my parents' floor after trying to help them buy a home and buying cars and trying to help my family become free, this was what I felt like I needed most. But I was really tired, you guys. I was exhausted from trying and failing, and I just wasn't sure if there was a future for me. But my dad taught me something that was really powerful, and I'll never forget this moment. In his office, he looked at me and he said, "Kenton, show me your friends, and I'll show you your future." He was talking about some people that I had put in my life that he wasn't happy about. But he didn't say that. This is what he said, and then the hair stood up on my neck, and that went right into my heart. And I knew that if I could surround myself with people who were living the values and going in the direction that I wanted to go, growing into the type of person that I wanted to become, things could change for me. Introduction to my new skin sponsor. This is a guy named Nathan Ricks. And I picked this picture for one reason. I could pick a lot of more, maybe nicer looking pictures of him. He's not here, so it's okay. But I'm sure I'm sure he wouldn't be really happy if he saw this. But this is what I said to Nathan. I was afraid, you guys. Have you ever been afraid? Have you ever been afraid of failing and what other people think about you? Some people think that I'm overly confident. Not true. I have fears. I was afraid of failure. And Nathan told me to stop sucking on the thumb of fear. It's exactly what he said. Kenton, you can sit in the corner sucking on the thumb of fear for the rest of your life. Or you can stand up and have some faith and do something and make a difference. And I started to cry. And I said, well, and I was, in Hungarian it's called bögni. So I was crying like this. I said, Nathan, I'm tired of motivating people. He said, well, that's your problem. We're not in the business of motivating anyone. He said, our business is to simply find already motivated people and give them a plan. Right? That's what we have, right? Very powerful. Changed my whole life. He said to me on that phone call, Kenton, this will require more from you than you are willing to ask from yourself. This will probably be the most difficult thing that you ever do. Do you want to know what? People ask me, what was your reason for beginning? This was it. He talked to me about the biophotonic scanner. He talked to me about antioxidants and new skin products. All of that went right over my head. I didn't care. Nobody cares about their antioxidant score. That's what I said. I was selling products. Nobody cared. I didn't want to hear any of that. But then when he said, this will require more from you than you are willing to ask from yourself, my heart jumped up. And I went, yes, that's what I'm looking for. If it doesn't require something from you, then it's not strong enough to help you change, to grow, to become that person that is inside of you. And all of you know what that is. There's that voice, that inner seed that's always saying, I can do more, I can grow more, I can give more, I can be more. And I had that too. And this is exactly why I got started. So I was at a point of decision. I had to make a strong and powerful decision. I have a question for you. Do you know the difference between being excited about something and being committed to something? I mean, this is probably not the most intelligent question for me to ask from you, because all of you have succeeded at getting here, right? There was a point when you jumped out into the unknown. How many of you have jumped out of an airplane? Anybody? I hope you'll all come tonight. I'm speaking again, and I have something I'm going to share with you. And I want you to think about that, because I'm going to talk about jumping out of airplanes. So I had to make a decision, and make a strong decision. I could either just sit there and not do anything, and I wanted to. I wanted to retire. I thought retirement was the dream of my life. What I found out is that retirement sucks. Nobody's laughing. Has anybody been retired in here where you just didn't do anything for a long time? Anyone? Well, the sons aren't. I mean, I may be the only one, okay? I'm the only one in here. Let me tell you what I've done for the last 5 years. Nothing except for get fat. Okay? My wife and I got married. We moved to Florence, Italy, and mangiare, mangiare. You know, andiamo mangiare. Let's eat, let's eat. And I put on some weight, and I wasn't contributing. I wasn't sponsoring. I wasn't talking to new people. And guess what happened to me? I became unhappy, and I was fat. My Vietnamese team always tells me, Kenton, you're fat. You can't come back, you need TR90. I'm like, hey, these are muscles, okay? Look at that. If you guys don't know, if you don't believe me, come up afterwards, you can fill. Okay? So I had a decision, and I didn't want to do that. I really believe that you can't just sit around and dream of success. It doesn't work. Building it here is important. Defining and creating clarity is important, but you have to actually go out and do something. Now, I wasn't going to share this story, but you and I had a conversation. One of the powerhouse leaders here in the front helped open up Singapore, and I'm so humbled by all of you leaders here. But he and I were talking a little bit about my business, and so I'm switching gears. I started building in Utah where the company was, 20 years old. If I called people, it was very often that I talked to people every day. Guess what they would say to me? Oh, I know Blake Roney. Oh, I'm friends with Sandy Tillotson. Oh, I know this family or that family. Oh, this Team Elite already sells me products. This happened to me every day. I got tired of it. So when I talked to people, I'd call them up, and they would say, well, I already know the founders of Nu Skin. I said, so how much is that making you? Right? How many of your bills are they paying? You will not believe that my frontline, I have Blake Roney's youngest brother is my frontline executive. When I recruited, and I'm not bragging to you, I'm just telling you, I was like, dude, how much money are you making being Blake Roney's younger brother? Because I'm telling you, because I know Blake, and I became involved with Nu Skin, and I shared the plan with people. I'm totally in a different position in my life. He was like, sign me up. Let's do this, okay? So I started working in Utah. I built my business there, but only about 10% of my income comes from Utah. So what happened? Well, I lived in Hungary, a country called Hungary, about 23 or 24 years ago. I learned the Hungarian language, and I met a guy there who's now a $5 million circle member. He was a crazy nutcase. He's really tall, talks really fast. He's crazier than me. I love him. He's an amazing person. He was poor. I was poor. He was broke. I was broke. We both wanted nice things. Right? We had this incredible dream together. And so I called him in 2004 to the begrudging basically threats of my sponsor saying, you better not even think about Hungary. I mean, I said, who wants to go to Hungary? The average income's $500 a month. There's only 10 million people there, and nobody speaks the language, and it's not open. We went to meet with the company, the corporate officers, and the corporate officers in Europe told me, yeah, we'll open up Hungary in maybe 2015. And the guy got up and left. He's no longer with the company, so I guess I can talk about him, right? He was Scottish. His name was Stuart MacArthur. But anyway, he sat down, he looked at me, and he's like, who the heck are you? I was 28 years old. I was a nobody. Nobody knew anything about me. I wasn't a $1 million circle member. I was an emerald. And he stood up and left. And my friend and I made a decision. I told him, I said, I swear to you right now, someday everybody in this company is going to be talking about us and what we did in Hungary. And he went, yeah, let's do it, man. This is going to be great. And we walked off, and then I went to pay for our hotel room. I had no money, right? I mean, we were stressed out. But I went from that place And we built things properly, and we started sharing our vision and dream with other people. And maybe those of you that are new don't know anything about the story of Hungary. It's kind of old news now. But at one point, within a few months of us opening that market, we became the #1 market in all of Europe. And that was an amazing experience. Yeah. Germany, France, Italy, Spain, UK, these are massive countries, 90, 100 million people, huge economies. We didn't care. I'd get up there and I'd say, "Ez lesz a kapu az egész Európának," which means Hungarians, this is the gateway for all of Europe for Nu Skin. We started talking to people and helping them see this powerful vision. I want you to know, no matter what you believe about who you are, where you came from, your circumstances, the market that you live in, the reality is whatever you believe it is. It's no different than that. If you believe it's hard, it will be hard. It is hard work, okay? The hardest work is right here for me, every single day. This is the hardest work because I don't really believe in myself half the time. So I have to spend a lot of time working on my head. So if I can leave you with anything, and I have so many things that I wanted to say, but I'm like insanely frustrated. So I got, you get 30 minutes, which, as you guys know, any of you that have tried to tell your story, how can I leave with you the most important things that I've learned of being in business for 20 years, doing network marketing? By the way, I don't tell this story often. I built a $100 million a year downline with a network marketing company that failed. I swore I would never do it again. I was so grateful when I found Nu Skin. This is a place where you can hang your hat. My dad said you only get one name. Be careful what you do with it. Your integrity is everything, and our name is protected with Nu Skin. So the decision has to be made right now or sometime here that you're going to continue to come back. You're not going to miss these cruises. You're not going to miss the trip to Dubai. And more importantly, you're not going to go alone. So what does it take for you to get there? Well, this is the comfort zone. Okay, that's where I've been for all these years. The comfort zone. I probably don't need to work anymore. I make great income. I have a great lifestyle. But that's not where you grow. Here's where all the magic happens. Okay? The magic happens where it's difficult, where it's challenging. And the beauty, actually the real beautiful thing about what Melissa and the other market leaders shared is that this mission is to change people's lives. I believe in whatever way people call out to the heavens, people were on their knees, in their cars, in the privacy of some room in their house, begging out for help for exactly what we have to offer. Don't you agree? Aren't there people out there? I was looking for it. I didn't know it. So we have to talk to people. So I want you to know this business, the real work of this business is just sharing the plan with new people every single day. And now with social media, the way the world is connected, we have 1 billion+ people actively online every single day on Facebook. Most of those people need what we have, wouldn't you agree? The products, the opportunity, maybe the lifestyle. So this is really what I want to encourage you to do. You'll get a lot of people that won't see it. They don't want to believe it. I saw this on social media. I love stuff like this. My first company gave away a free car bonus, and every time I'd show up in an old rusty car with holes on the bottom of my shoes, my pants were split in the back, I had a whiteboard and I was drawing stuff, people would point out and go, "Did you see that car he drove up in? Do you see the holes in his shoes? Do you see the split in his pants? This guy's not making any money." People would laugh at me. They would laugh me out. That's how I knew that I was going in the right direction. Right? I just knew that. I knew this has to be right. It has to be right. It is right. And I continued to push and move and grow. So when people ask me, "Hey, where's your car?" I used to get on stage and go, "You know what, someday when people ask me where my car is, because they know I drive a rust heap out the back, I'm going to say, I don't drive a car, but did you miss the helicopter park on the back lawn?" That's what I wanted to do. There's actually some people in this room that can do that. I'm not there yet, but I'll work on it. Okay? So believing is seeing. You have to believe it. That's where you need to do the work inside your own mind and heart. And I've just got a couple of minutes left. But this is really critical. Consistency. So another thing my sponsor taught me, and I absolutely did not agree with him about this. He said, consistency is a critical principle of success. I was like, yeah, right. I mean, I wasn't consistent at pretty much anything. I was always, I was a kickboxer. I did all this great stuff. I wasn't that consistent. Everything seemed to come easy to me. No. As soon as I turned 40, I realized you got to be consistent at some things in your life. More and more every day I realized that the heavy lifting is this daily habit of becoming and growing and doing and sharing. And it's really not that hard if we break it down like that. Anyway, so there you go. I asked them if I could put these pictures in there because I wanted people to see what I used to look like before I got married. And when I was single, traveling the world, these were good pictures to show everyone. So, I've done this incredible thing. Here's one of my favorite pictures. I was at the Olympics the entire month in 2008 with one of my future team elites. Okay, I got you. Thank you so much. And I love this. Right here, this says, it takes dreams. That was one of the greatest. He is the greatest swimmer. He holds more records, more gold medals than anyone else in the world. I was there. How many of you watched the 2008 games? I was there in Beijing, right about row 34, the first row that we could get when Usain Bolt became the fastest man in the world. That was awesome. I'll never forget. He got down on his knees. I have a cool picture of him. In his own way, he was saying thank you, and then he jumped up and went. And I was like, man, my hair stood up. I was like, yeah. Oh, it was amazing. I was electric. And then he was running around. And you know what? I realized I'm never going to be the fastest man in the world. But guess what? And he gets to do that once, maybe twice in his lifetime. As New Skin distributors, we get to do this every day. Right? Isn't that the truth? Yeah! Oh, so this is the guy I was telling you about here on the right. He's this tall guy. That was my first $5 million circle member. He was the one, he and I dreamt up the Hungarian thing together. And we built a business all over the world. It's really amazing. Traveled to Thailand. By the way, so I don't know if I can say this. This is that's Blake Roney's airplane in the background, the big one. The small one was mine. Cars, these are some New Skin cars and some Farmanex cars. Mine's the one that said Farmanex on it, and then I saw the New Skin. My first convention, I saw the New Skin one, I said, well, I better start talking about skincare because somebody's doing better than me, right? So this is my little nephew. Oh, so freaking cute. This is a home that I built. I dreamt this house up. It was kind of a big thing for me. This was my backyard. In full disclosure, I sold this home before I moved to Europe and Los Angeles, and but it was fun. It was really amazing. So this is where I shot my move. I used to do a TV show called Cooking with Kenton, but nobody watched it. So that was it. And then I became a vegetarian, and a vegan, and I only ate raw food at the time. So then it wasn't cooking; it was called Kenton's Kitchen. And only one person liked the post, so I stopped doing that too. I went back to doing New Skin, my room, my bathroom. This is the theater room. So I love movies. Your 50 closest friends can come in here. This was the swimming pool. And this just Home and Garden TV voted this swimming pool as the best backyard swimming pool last year in America. So it was pretty fun thing. The last thought is really this. Please, if you only remember one thing, the gift in the end is not what you acquire, but the person that you become in the process, right? And that person can make a difference in the world. I mean this with my whole heart and soul. I would love to know each one of you and hear your stories. I know that all the leaders feel that way. Unfortunately, we're limited to something called time. So I'm humbled and honored that you allowed me to share my story with you. And I look forward to the day that I can hear many more from you and celebrate together as we go and change the world and leave it better the New Skin way. Thank you so much.